And now we're going to talk to Norm Valle about the 4th annual Pinto Stampede in Michigan. How are you, Norm?
I'm doing good. How are you doing today, Javier?
Excellent, thank you. So, pretty cool event. Tell us a little bit about it, the 4th edition already.
Yeah, this is the 4th edition of the Pinto Stampede. We started off wanting to do one of them, but everybody had such a great time, and they wanted to keep doing it, and we made good friends, and we just decided to keep it going.
Well, so tell us a little bit about the history. How did this start initially, like a small group, and then it kept growing? How did that happen?
Well, the first thing I saw on TV show was Mustangs Across America, which was about a caravan of, like 300-400 Mustangs that were driving in this big tour of the country. And I said, it'd be great to do that with Pintos, but, there's not a lot of Pintos out there.
Yeah.
So it's not like, a Mustang or a Camaro where if I want to put a car show up on the corner, 50 will show up. So we had to plan it. And the first one actually took 2.5 years to plan.
Wow.
And I wanted to do a cross-country drive, which ended up being from Denver, Colorado, to Carlisle, PA for the Ford Nationals, which was coincided with the 40th anniversary of the Ford Pinto. So that's how we got started.
And so I guess you had a Ford Pinto from the beginning, right?
Yeah, I actually I'm one of the younger guys in the group. My parents had Mustangs, and then when they got divorced, there's not so much money to go around. They ended up in Pintos. So I kind of grew up in the back seat of a Pinto. So for me, it was a nostalgia thing. Well, and it's pretty much a nostalgia thing for everybody. Most of the guys that I drive with, that was either their first car or the car they had in college. So for everybody, it's all about nostalgia.
Yeah, that's pretty cool because, again, there's like, as you mentioned, some other cars like Mustangs and Camaros and other things that people are, they're more popular, so obviously you'll have more people following them, but Ford Pintos, you don't hear that much about it. So the first one you said it was a cross-country drive, so what happened the next few years?
Well, the next year we did a drive down south, and then last year we did a run down the Mississippi River. So, each year we try to pick a different area. And this year, we're going to Dearborn, Michigan is where we're going to meet. This is the first year where it's not going to be, 3 days of solid driving. We've been invited to the Ford Employee Car Show, which is a very prestigious event for, Ford people because there's mostly a lot of one-offs and classic cars that are really unique or prototypes. And they generally don't invite a lot of car clubs, but they invited us, so we're honored to be there. And then that's going to be on Friday. And then on Saturday, we're going to drive to Hell, Michigan. So we kind of made a little joke out of it that the Pintos are going to hell and back.
That's pretty cool. So how big is going to be the group? How many cars do you have signed up?
I have 45 signed up right now.
Oh, that's pretty good.
So and there's actually a few that are going to be coming from the Ford employee end. So we're probably going to have close to 50 Pintos.
Oh, okay. And can you tell us a little bit of the history of the car? Maybe some of our audience don't, know the name, but don't know much about the car itself.
Well, the Ford Pinto started in 1971. It ran to 1980. It had a 10-year run. They sold 3.2 million Pintos in that time. It took the Mustang almost 25 years to reach that number of sales. So that'll tell you how many they sold in a relatively short amount of time. It was a very big seller for Ford. One of the things that it's known for, which we don't really like, was there was a newspaper magazine and a television news broadcast that did a big thing on that. If you hit the car in the back, that it would explode. And they actually said that thousands a year died in Pinto-related fires. But a few years later, the real numbers came out, which in 1976, when there were 2.5 million of these cars on the road, only 27 fatalities were reported in Pintos. And that's total, including, if you drove off a mountain or something. So
yeah.
It was a big exaggeration to say thousands of people a year died, but that's not anything we can change. It's what the car is known for. And, we know it's not true, but it's one of the things that people say when they come up. Overall, people come up and so many of these cars were sold, they generally come up and are happy because it was a car that they remember. Their girlfriend had one, their neighbor had one, they had one, they were everywhere.
Yeah, and I actually kind of remember that the stories about those accidents and all that because they were mentioned again, like I think in the early 80s or 90s, there was the incident with the Explorer, I think it was, with the tires or something like that. And so they always bring back those kind of things. And also interesting because in the previous segment on this show, we had an interview about reputations. And back in those days, there wasn't any internet and all that, like the stories clarify faster. And I guess this is one of the examples of that, right? A great car that got a bad reputation for one not little incident. There were like accidents, but I mean, it's a shame that happened, no?
It's kind of funny because when you look at the car, all the cars were designed inherently the same at the time. The gas tank was between the bumper and the rear axle, and that was pretty much a crush zone for the gas tank. But when you look at the Pinto, the Pinto had a side nozzle gas tank, which at the time most of the cars had a rear nozzle, which was even apparently more dangerous. You know, the Mustang, the Camaro, the Gremlin, different cars all had that rear fill, and when you hit that car and it sprayed the gas, it sprayed it right on the engine, and it could really ignite, which is why they don't do that design anymore. Everybody does the side fill now, but the thing with the Pinto was, it's just what it's known for. I mean, every decade has a car that the media went after, whether it was the Corvair or the Pinto. More recently, they went after the Prius. It's just kind of what happens.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hopefully no more accidents or anything like that. So like a lot of fun at the event. So tell us a little bit about your particular car, or maybe you have more than one.
I have 3 Pintos, or I had 3 Pintos. I sold one last year. My Pinto that I drive has actually a Boss 302 motor in it. It drinks a lot of gas. It goes real fast and it's really loud. My wife, she has one that has air conditioning. So there's so many different varieties of the car. Mine is not the factory model, of course. They built them with 4-cylinder and 6-cylinder motors. But, they had station wagons, they had cruising wagons, which were kind of like the old custom vans of the 70s.
Yeah, I remember those, yeah.
Yeah, they had the hatchback, the coupe model. I mean, we have all big variety of cars coming with us. There's so many different styles. I mean, you could have the Squire wagon, which has like the woody paneling on the side with orange shag carpet and orange plaid seats. Some people will look at that car and go, it's ugly. I look at that car, I think it's beautiful.
Excellent. Yeah, so we're talking with Norm Baggi, and we're talking about the Ford Pinto Stampede that is going to take place in Michigan. And again, is there a webpage or something where people can look for more information about your club and like maybe other activities in the future?
Yeah, there's www.pintostampede.com, and you can also follow us on Facebook. We have Pinto Stampede on Facebook.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for your time. Have fun, and please share all the pictures, and I'm sure like pretty cool videos of this event this coming weekend.
Thank you very much. Thanks for giving us the time.
Esto ha sido toda la edición de esta semana. Los espero muy pronto aquí en Cristina Radio Network. Yo soy Javier Mota y esto es Auto 060.
Este programa fue una producción de National Latino Broadcasting.